Crossplay, something many of us thought would never happen. In the 1990s, there were lots of different controller hookups, not just on consoles, but on PCs as well. It wasn't until much later, when the internet converged with gaming, that we all thought, wait, why aren't we playing together? And pretty soon, we will be. So what got us here? Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, we're going to talk about how the PlayStation and Xbox crossplay war started and ended. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Final Fantasy XI, the first MMORPG entry to the Final Fantasy series, with a release date of actually quite a long time ago in 2002, has the distinction of being the first multi-platform cross-play game. Players from the PC and the PlayStation 2 could play together upon release, and later on it also became the Xbox 360's first MMORPG. Period. Back when this happened, my brain was blown. I didn't know everything back then, and I thought, wait, so how is this even possible? All of the data is different, isn't it? But that's not really the case, is it? It's not so much the platform you're using that defines the data it sends to whatever server. It's actually the server's ability to interpret the data. So it's not so much where the data's coming from, it's more that it's the same kind of data and that where it's going can interpret it. With Final Fantasy XI, a lot of us who suddenly realized it was possible wondered why it wasn't happening. In fact, it didn't happen for quite a while. Sure, there was a game here and there that made attempts at it, but I mean, we'd seen that the Final Fantasy can do the damn thing, so what gives? In 2012, a game called Defiance was specifically showed to a crowd in a demonstration that, yes, we can do crossplay. Even in 2012, despite the fact that this happened between PC and PC2 with Final Fantasy XI, people lost their minds. There was a number of articles that came out at the time that were just along the lines of, hey, they did multiplayer between two consoles at this thing with this Defiance game. They barely talked about the Defiance game, as a matter of fact. Some people even apologized for not giving it enough attention. In fact, the developer ended up actually commenting on it, saying any of the devices they had running the Defiance client could easily be connected to whatever server they were running. This implied that in order to actually release the games, they had to shut this feature off. This turned out to be the truth, and in 2012 it was because Microsoft did not want Sony players to play against them, or at least that was the stink that was made. A Microsoft spokesperson said, "We have a high level of expectation for our game developers to ensure that all live experiences remain top-notch. Because we can't guarantee this level of quality or control the player experience on other consoles or gaming networks, we currently do not open our network to games that allow this crossover capability." Now, when somebody comes out with a statement like this, you have to understand that it's usually in protection of their own proprietary software, or their own business model. I'm just saying that Microsoft saw a possible threat in this. At least that's my theory. It wasn't until 2016 when it started to become quite obvious that's what people wanted that Microsoft finally began to push for it. Although, keeping in mind, this was a thing that they did after everybody hated them for announcing the Xbox One with always-on DRM. That's right, that move is going to haunt them every time they do anything to please anyone forever. Here's the interesting thing. At the time, the PS4 was doing about twice as good as the Xbox One. All of the sudden, Microsoft became very pro-gamer. Hey, the gamers want this, why aren't we giving it to them? And initially, Sony agreed. Sony, in fact, touted the idea that they had launched crossplay back in 2002 with Final Fantasy XI on PS2 and PC. People really thought for a few minutes at least that Xbox gamers would be playing against PlayStation gamers soon enough. Sony, however, realized they were ahead. Oh, wait, we want people to continue to have to buy PlayStation in order to play with their friends. Why would we enable crossplay? And although they didn't issue any specific announcement regarding it, in 2017, about a year later, Nintendo revealed that there would be crossplay on Rocket League between the Switch, Xbox One, and PC. The developers expressed a lot of excitement about this. Of course, it opens up a game that quite frankly is a party machine, so that more people with more hardware can play together. Sony was like, nah. And at E3, they flat out just shut it down. They said, no, we're not doing that. Sony said, unfortunately, it's a commercial discussion between ourselves and other stakeholders, which is essentially saying, hey, this makes business less competitive, so we aren't gonna do that. But they also went on to say, we have a contract with the people who go online with us, that we look after them and they are within a PlayStation curated universe. Exposing what in many cases are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after, it's something we have to think about very carefully. First, it's a business thing, but also think of the children. Won't somebody think of the children? Yeah, that wasn't received very well. And Nintendo and Microsoft absolutely understood that this was something to capitalize on. They teamed up and created a commercial showing Minecraft crossplay on the Switch and Xbox One. All the while this was going on, guess what? Fortnite became the biggest goddamn thing that ever happened. And Sony was like, not only are we going to restrict the crossplay here, but we're also going to make it so that you can't even play your profile on other consoles. We just really want to incentivize people to use PlayStations. You know, by handcuffing them to PlayStations. Sony maintained that stance until September. That means a few weeks ago, with Sony's CEO saying, on cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with the PS4 is the best experience for users. That's our belief. And people have been pissed. Rightfully so, too. Let's just be completely honest. The promise of online is to open things up. That's what we all see as the internet, an open exchange between every conceivable kind of person. And this whole thing has been so utterly contrary to that in a way that gamers picked up on immediately. And here's the big thing, you know how it's the one that's ahead that makes the big stink about crossplay, and it's about how they could lose business. And it's also about how it maybe makes consoles look a little bit less necessary. What people don't understand is that having open platforms, letting people do the things that they want to do together, only bolsters the situation. I'm very happy that they've changed this policy, and I think it's a big step forward. If all of these companies understand that it's part of the user experience to be able to play these games with each other, things are only going to get better as far as multiplayer goes. We might even see some sort of better agreed upon standards that up the quality. Even. What do you think? Are you excited that this is finally happening? All of the yelling and complaining and stuff that people say you shouldn't be talking about. It's finally worked. As it turns out, the people have power when they work together and stuff gets done. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is of course a subscription. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Falcon, you can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanx.